Do you know what I feel like we massively underestimate nowadays? How intimate it is for someone to truly give you their time. Not half listening while scrolling. Not sitting beside you while mentally somewhere else. Not replying with while checking their notifications every 10 seconds. I mean real presence. Because in a world where everyone is overstimulated, distracted, and emotionally exhausted, constantly being pulled in 100 different directions, attention has become one of the rarest things someone can give you. And that means when someone consistently gives you their focus, energy, and time, they're saying something deeper than you realize. They're saying, out of everything I could be doing, I choose you. That's not small. That's intimacy. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons people feel emotionally disconnected today is because we've confused access with connection. We confuse being available with being present. We confuse communication with intimacy. We confuse attention crumbs for genuine care. And people are emotionally starving because of it. We live in a world where we can text each other all day long, and at the end of the day, we still don't know each other. Think about that. Some people talk constantly and never connect deeply, because constant access is not the same as emotional presence. Being reachable is not the same as being present. Someone can respond to every message you send and still not truly see you. And seriously, social media has amplified this tremendously. We have more access to people than ever before, yet people feel more emotionally alone than ever before. But why? Why is that? Because modern communication often creates the illusion of intimacy without the vulnerability of a real connection. We're not connecting anymore. We're just kind of consuming each other. A sort of emotional cannibalism. People want access to your energy, to your attention, your body, your validation, your entertainment, without actually slowing down long enough to know your heart. And eventually that creates emotional starvation, because human beings were never designed to survive on fragments. You cannot build intimacy off of divided attention. You can't build trust off of inconsistency. And you definitely can't build love with somebody who's only partially present in your life. I genuinely believe that attention is one of the purest forms of love now, because what you consistently give your attention to becomes your relationship. And I'm not talking about obsession, I'm talking about intentional presence. Listening when someone speaks, remembering little details, making time, checking in, being emotionally available, and actually caring enough to focus. People think love is found only in the loud declarations. Most real love is found in consistent presence, because that's the stuff people remember, not the grand performance, not the social media captions, not the image. People remember how safe they felt with you, how heard they felt, how important they felt just being around you. Because when someone gives you undivided attention, they are giving you something that they can never get back, their life. That's why it hurts so deeply when someone makes you feel like you're constantly in competition for their focus. Because emotionally, that feels like rejection. And some people spend years trying to convince themselves they're asking for too much, when really they're just asking to be genuinely seen. That's not needy, that's human. And this is where I think modern culture is damaging us emotionally, because we're living absolutely addicted to stimulation. Nobody can sit still anymore. Nobody can sit in silence anymore. Nobody can tolerate boredom anymore. Everybody needs constant noise, constant scrolling, constant dopamine, constant distraction. And because of that, people are physically together while emotionally apart entirely. People are starving for attention while drowning in distraction. And that's the real tragedy. You can literally sit across from someone you love and feel completely alone because their mind never arrives. And over time, that chips away at people emotionally. Because intimacy requires presence, not perfection, presence. Because you cannot connect with somebody while constantly escaping yourself. And really, I think people use distraction to avoid emotional depth altogether. You're not fooling anyone, because real intimacy requires vulnerability. It requires slowing down enough to actually feel something. And People would rather stay stimulated than emotionally exposed. Sad. So, instead of learning how to connect deeply, they learn how to consume endlessly. New content, new people, new validation, new dopamine hits. But none of it fills the emptiness, because stimulation and connection are not the same thing. One distracts you temporarily, the other nourishes you. And I really think one of the deepest human desires is to feel chosen. And people try and minimize that nowadays, like it's unhealthy to want presence, consistency, or effort from others. But it is not unhealthy to want reciprocity. It's not unhealthy to want someone to show up intentionally. It's not unhealthy to want to feel important to the people you love. And you can feel abandoned next to someone who never fully arrives. And that feeling changes people, especially people who spent their entire lives settling for emotional breadcrumbs, all along trying to convince themselves that they're being understanding. No. At some point, we need to stop romanticizing emotional unavailability. And we need to stop teaching that tolerating neglect is loyalty. Because loyalty without reciprocity becomes self-abandonment. And a lot of people destroy themselves by trying to prove they are worthy of being prioritized by someone who is emotionally unavailable. Real connection does not make you beg to matter. Real connection makes space for you naturally. I think one of the hardest lessons people will learn is that you cannot force people into presence, and you cannot guilt someone into emotional availability. You cannot love somebody hard enough to make them intentionally show up. And honestly, you should not have to. Love should not feel like convincing someone to notice you. If someone makes you feel consistently emotionally alone, believe the pattern. Because effort is visible. Care is visible. Consistency is visible. And I think people stay too long in emotionally unavailable dynamics because they fall in love with potential instead of the reality. They keep waiting for the moment that somebody finally becomes the person they hoped they would be. But meanwhile, they're starving emotionally the entire time. You deserve relationships where your presence is valued, not merely tolerated. You deserve conversations where people actually listen. Connections where people actually arrive emotionally. Relationships where attention flows naturally instead of feeling extracted. And the right people, they won't make a genuine connection feel like a competition. So no, time is not just time. Attention is life. Because every moment someone gives you is a piece of their existence they will never get back. And in a world pulling people in 1,000 directions, someone slowing down long enough to truly see you, that, my friend, is sacred. And maybe we need to stop measuring love by words alone and start paying attention to where people consistently place their presence. Because that says everything. I love you all, stay golden, and I'll see you in the next one.